Broadcasting more than 2,000 games live and archived in 15 sports in over 10 counties in western Pennsylvania, as well as being the exclusive home for all the WPIAL playoffs and championships for nearly 2 decades. Anytime, anywhere, always there. We are the new Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Welcome to coverage of WPIAL basketball 2017-2018 here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. High school basketball at tribhssn.triblive.com is sponsored by UPMC Sports Medicine, by AstroTurf, by Carlow University, proud sponsor of the 2018 WPIAL Girls Basketball Playoffs, and by Trib Total Media.
Good evening and welcome to continuing coverage of the 2017-18 WPIAL Girls Basketball season here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. As tonight we have a win-and-you're-in scenario, as one of these teams will be making the playoffs. It'll be either the visiting Plum Mustangs or the homestanding Franklin Regional Panthers. I'm Sean Meyers alongside Josh Rowntree here at Murraysville, Franklin Regional High School. And Josh, talking to both coaches before the game, there's no denying that this is a playoff-type game, a win-and-you're-in scenario. One of these teams moving on, one of them will be going home for the postseason.
Yeah, technically speaking, Sean, the playoffs start a week from tomorrow in the WPIL, but for these two teams, really they begin tonight. You have to win this game. Where both teams stand, Franklin Regional 8-12 overall, 3-8 in the section. Same thing for Plum; they're 3-8, 15 and 5-15 overall. So those 3-8 matching marks, and you have Plum that's already won one this year. But if Franklin Regional gets the win, they will be in, Plum will be out, and vice versa. So this game, a lot of pressure on it. It is a playoff game essentially here today, despite maybe not getting the accolades of a playoff type of game. It really is for both of these squads if they want to continue their season.
Looking at this classification, and in particular this section, it is the 5A classification, in particular Section 4. Hampton 11-0, Mars 10-1. I believe those teams are meeting tonight to determine first place, if there will be co-champs or an outright champ in this section. Armstrong already into the postseason, the Riverhawks at 7-4, and then these teams with identical 3-8 records, Kiski at 3-9, eliminated, as is Indiana at 2-9. Maybe a little bit of surprise, the first meeting went in favor of the Plum Mustangs. That one at Plum, and the Mustangs prevailed 46-37. Franklin Regional looking to reverse fortunes here tonight under the guidance of third-year head coach Courtney Callis. What will be key for the Panthers?
Well, the last time these two teams played, they mixed up their defenses a little bit. They ended up losing that game, but they're an athletic team. They're a pretty physical team. Both of these teams are fairly young, too, but I think for Franklin Regional, it's just going to simply come down to knocking down shots. They did not make enough shots. They only scored 37 points that first time out. It's a Franklin Regional team that scores 38 a game. And, Sean, you look at the other side, it's a Plum team really – they know all about low scoring. They average just 36.9 points per game. That's one of the worst marks in the WPIL and especially in 5A. And, I think both of these teams are going to kind of play a grinded-out game. I would imagine that neither team would likely get to 50 in this one. That would maybe be a bit surprising. But sometimes you don't know. It's the second time around. Teams can maybe be a bit more comfortable with each other, and they can hit more shots. I saw that the other night when I was at Pine Richland. It was a tight, low-scoring game the first time around. This time, as they were playing Shaler, it ended up being high-scoring. So you never know, but I think for Franklin Regional, certainly try to go with that mix-it-up sort of defensive look and just try to out-defend them.
For the Mustangs, there has been some instability in terms of the head coach for this team. Fourth coach in the past 5 years, Steve Elsier, his first year guiding Plum, his first year in the WPIAL. There's a lot of promise for this team going forward. They have no seniors on the roster. They have several key contributors amongst freshmen and sophomores. Are these girls ready for the big pressure situation, however?
Well, Kennedy Montu is their top player. She averages nearly 13 points a game, and she is only a freshman. She's 5'11". She's going to play down in the post. really an exciting player, I think, in the WPIL, and one that, maybe 2-3 years from now we're going to be talking about as one of the best players in District 7. And you mentioned the instability, Sean. Steve Elsier came into this program, actually moved to this area. His wife's job relocated to this area, and so he lives around here. And he spent 8 years at Biglerville, and that is just north of Gettysburg, coached the boys varsity team. And I think his goal now is to establish some stability with these girls and with this program. They're a young team. I think that's good to have a young coach and a young team because they can all sort of grow up together. And I think that's what they're going to do. And at the end of the day, they're, I think, going to be able to build a pretty good team around a very promising freshman in Montu.
Elsier played at Upper Marion. That might be significant because a lot of people will recognize Lower Marion.
There was a slightly better player that played at Lower Marion, was there not?
Kobe Bryant would be the famous alum from there. As once again, we are at Franklin Regional High School. They're going to introduce the starting lineups momentarily, but first we're going to step aside. You're watching 2017-18 WPIAL girls basketball. It is sponsored by Carlow University, and it's here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
The team at UPMC Sports Medicine doesn't just rebuild wrists and knees. They build better athletes. Athletes at every level who want to get stronger and faster and prevent injuries. Fact is, no other sports medicine program in the region is more experienced when it comes to treating, training, and inspiring athletes. UPMC, the official healthcare provider of the Penguins, Steelers, and you. Find out more at upmcsportsmedicine.com.
People ask what drives me. It's the respect I have for my opponents, the trust I have in my teammates, a coach who treats me with dignity, and a university that has faith in me on and off the field. That's what keeps me focused, why I practice harder, play my heart out. I play to win. I play for Carlow. Tell us your story using #WhatDrivesYou.
Carlow University is a proud sponsor of the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
380 Discount Warehouse in Murraysville carries a full line of brand new furniture at discount pricing. 380 Discount Warehouse carries Ashley, Liberty, Vaughn Bassett, and Best Home Furniture, and many more. You can special order your furniture at discount pricing. While you're there, shop the many other departments, including tools, automotive, food, pet and wildlife, household goods and cleaning supplies, lawn and garden, and seasonal holiday decor. Visit them on the web at shop380.com or on the road at Route 380 in Murraysville. Open Tuesday through Sunday 9 to 5. Shop 380 Discount Warehouse and save big. Just about set for the starting lineups to be introduced here at Murraysville and Franklin Regional High School. I'm Sean Meyers alongside Josh Rowntree. Also Chelsea Rowntree manning the camera for this key matchup to determine who will go to the playoffs as the fourth and final team out of the 5A Section 4 classification. Starting lineups being introduced on the floor. Josh, give us the starters for the Mustangs and for the Panthers.
Start with the Plum Mustangs under first-year head coach Steve Elsier, 5'6" freshman guard. Number 10, Jamie Seneca, 5'5" junior guard. Number 20, Alexa Say, a 5'11" freshman center. Number 21, their leading scorer, Kennedy Montu. A 5'8" sophomore guard. Number 23, Mackenzie Lake, and a 5'8" junior forward. Number 24, Kelsey Zick. For Franklin Regional, under third-year head coach Courtney Callis, a 5'6" junior guard, number 1, Caitlin Carr, a 5'7" junior guard, number 10, Courtney Giles, a 5'10" junior forward, number 13, Jordan Yaniga, and a 5'10" senior guard, their leading scorer, number 21, Izzy Palamone, and finally a 5'10" junior forward, number 33, Alex Wrights.
The Mustangs wearing the road black jerseys with the gold numbers. Franklin Regional wearing the home white jerseys with the dark blue, the navy numbers, as the starters being introduced for the Panthers. Franklin Regional had a starter that's no longer on the team, Hannah Turisi, that really did a lot in terms of providing stability at the guard position. So they've had some other girls step up. This is a team that made the playoffs a year ago, Josh, losing in the first round to McKeesport, but that was accomplishment in itself, making the playoffs after somewhat of a drought for the Panthers. But they do have pretty good history in terms of girls basketball, claiming a pair of titles.
Yeah, they won in 77 and 79, so it's been a long time for them. And It's been a long time since they've gotten out of the first round of the playoffs. They have won a couple of preliminary round games. And on the other side for Plum, their last playoff win came all the way back in the 2001-2002 season. That was in the first round. They beat Ambridge by a point that year, as they have lost a number of 7, in fact, in a row first-round playoff games. So they're trying to get out of the first round, but first things first, they need to get into the first round, and that would be done with a win for both of these teams. Win and you're in here tonight.
So the team's just about set to tip off once again. Winner of this one goes to the 5A playoffs. The officials tonight, Keith Giannicola, Ellen Klein, and Ron Coleman.
These two teams met earlier this year, 46-37 in favor of Plum. Mustangs were down by 3 at half, rallied for the win. Montu had 22 points in that game. Alex Wrights led the Panthers with 10 in that one. So I would think Montu will be a big part of this game early on after that good one the first time out.
Wrights and Zick to take the opening tip as we are underway with the teams battling for control as the basketball's on the floor and the Mustangs come up with it.
It took about 3 seconds for bodies to hit the floor. Again, playoff type of game. That's the effort that you expect to see.
Say has the basketball. Now gives to Montu. She's been a terrific freshman as she gets it down low, misses the opportunity point blank, and Izzy Palamone comes up with the basketball. Palamone went over 1,000 points for her career earlier this season against Indiana. Played initially at Woodland Hills before transferring for the Panthers last year. She takes a shot, air ball, and the Mustangs come up with it with Montu corralling it. Now ahead of the pack, Zick's jumper off a front iron. The Mustangs come up with the loose ball, however, that is stolen by Palamone. Palamone into the open court. Trying to come the other way, has the basketball stripped, try to keep it alive. The ball stays in bounds as the Mustangs have it. Just about a minute into this contest, no score. Now Plum coming the other way, and Zick gets a transition opportunity, but comes up shy. You mentioned it could be a low-scoring affair, Josh, at least through the first minute and 15 seconds. If that's any indication, it certainly will be.
Yeah, each team with a turnover to this point and just missing shots. They've had some looks, just haven't knocked them down in the early going.
Yanniga's foul line jumper a bit strong as a pair of Panthers nearly collide. Looked like Yanniga was going to have an opportunity to get to it, but her and Wrights collide. And as a result, it's Mustangs basketball. As the first sub of this contest comes in for the Panthers, Noelle Boyd.
It looked like Wrights went to the ground with that ball and was falling nearly on her back and threw that ball up as if she was shooting, perhaps. That would have been amazing had that gone into the hoop, but obviously fell short. And you see here now the Panthers coming out with a little bit of a trap, and they get a turnover.
Coming up with the basketball, Wrights, but it'll go back to the Mustangs as neither team's really able to generate any sustained offense in the early going. 6:21 remaining, quarter number 1, still no score.
The first time around, Franklin Regional, they threw a 2-3 zone, a man. They ran a 2-2-1 press and another half-court trap press. So I would expect to see some variety in this game as well.
Beautiful
Great
feed
pass
down low, and Montu, the catch and the easy hoop. First points of the game in favor of the Mustangs.
Yeah, perfect pass down low from Mackenzie Lake. Just fed that one up top. And you see the athleticism of Montu. Only a freshman, but she has, I think, what you would call a basketball player's frame.
As another freshman for the Mustangs, Seneca picks up the foul. First foul of this contest.
Not only is she 5'11", but she can handle the ball a little bit, Montu. Again, I think she's going to be really a great player to watch here these next couple of years.
She's already drawing some collegiate interest. As Franklin Regionals, Giles has the basketball up top. Defended by her fellow number 10, Seneca. Good movement down low to Yanniga, but she comes up a bit shy, and Montu corrals the rebound. Now Lake comes the other way, pushing the pace. Zick's transition shot. That one a high rebound. Montu corrals it, throws it up underneath, and Zick corrals the basketball.
Well, good job on the board so far by Plum, and Montu leading the way. She has 3 rebounds. We've not even played 3 minutes.
5:27 remaining in period number 1. Zick's been active, and she gets 2 points off of glass. It's 4-0 Mustangs.
Yeah, good pass and a better catch and delivery of the basketball there. Great ball movement.
Now a baseline drive, layup opportunity, no good for Boyd, and a foul underneath. That will send the Panthers to the charity stripe, trying to get on the board for the first time is Say, charged with the personal. Yanniga has been one of the top interior players for the Panthers here in 2017-18. That's her first foul shot, a bit too strong.
Yeah, Yanniga, 5'10", junior. Some height on the court. I mean, there's a number of players, 5'10", 5'11". So there is some size, and I think more than just size, athletic size down low for both teams. Lane violation.
Yanniga misses the second. The lane violation goes against the Mustangs, which means she will get that second opportunity back.
You know, Sean, Plum this year, they lost their first 7 games and kind of went roller coaster in the middle of the year and lost 4 in a row. They lost their last game as well after a win over Indiana, lost to Armstrong by 15. So they're trying to right the ship here.
That's another missed foul shot. Basketball goes out of bounds, and it will stay with Franklin Regional. So 3, for all intents and purposes, misses by Yanniga, but the Panthers will have another crack at it. The lane violation on the second foul shot, and then ultimately the out of bounds that goes to the Panthers as a point-blank shot by Carr. Does it go? Another offensive rebound. Now Palamone burrows her way inside off of glass. Franklin Regional's on the board courtesy of their 1,000-point score.
Yeah, Izzy Palamone, good job. Just put the head down and bullied her way to the hoop, then threw it off glass. Nice fundamental play there and physical play.
Foul charged against Franklin Regional. Looks like it could go on Palamone. It's 4-2 Mustangs, 4:49 left in this opening quarter of play. Once again, the winner of this one moves on to the 5A postseason. The brackets will be released next Tuesday on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. As the Mustangs get a good opportunity. Point-blank shot is good for Lake. She was uncontested and drilled the trifecta, making it 7-2.
Yeah, she knew it as she let it go, too. Posed that one up.
Now a foul the other way as the Panthers trying to get quickly out in transition. Charge to Seneca. That's her second.
Yeah, 2 to Seneca. Another promising freshman for this Plum team going to have to come out. And they have 2 freshmen, a sophomore, and a pair of juniors in their starting lineup. I think they're going to be a much improved team next year. They're trying to at least get into the postseason, play a little more this season.
Entering the floor for the Mustangs, the sophomore Gianna Trombetta, as another foul committed by the Mustangs as Palamone got into the lane. Could not get the shot to go, but she's going to head to the stripe for 2.
Kennedy Montu picking up the personal.
And of concern for the Mustangs, 4 team fouls already as Palamone rattles home the first.
I think one thing at the other end of the court, Plum, they're getting open looks from the perimeter. And if those shots, fall half the time, they're going to run away with this thing. But I think Franklin Regional, they need to play a little bit tighter. Good rebound.
Second shot off the mark, and ultimately the Mustangs come up with the loose ball. Lake drives inside, a bit strong on the opportunity. Putback shot doesn't go as well. Trombetta had a good look at it, and now a jump ball called with possession arrow favoring Franklin Regional.
Each team so far with 3 turnovers. Bit of a sloppy aspect to this one, nearly halfway through this first quarter.
As Palamone slowly dribbles across the timeline. Brooke Leopold into the contest, takes a 3-pointer off the mark. Rebound to the Mustangs as Lake is able to come away with it. Zick thought about a 3, drives inside, gets a closer shot, and she converts. Good looking play there by Kelsey Zick, her second field goal to make it 9-3 in favor of Plum. Quick shot the other way goes for Franklin Regional's Noelle Boyd. Makes the score 9-5.
Up and down the floor, these two. Now you see the zone press coming out here for Franklin Regional.
Montu was able to break it, had a layup opportunity, couldn't get the shot to go, and then the Mustangs compound the miss by committing a foul.
Now that'll be on Trombetta. Picking that one up.
5th team foul against Plum. Still 3:21 remaining in this opening quarter. As Giles back to the floor for Franklin Regional. Allison Briner in for the first time for the Mustangs off the bench. Plum does not have a deep team. Just 9 girls on the varsity roster. Expect to probably see 7, maybe 8 of them at least in this contest. As Yannicka has it inside and she's able to bounce it in. Jordan Yannicka, her first points make it 9-7 Plum.
I like the confidence, too, of Yannicka. Takes that ball in the paint, goes right up. No dilly-dallying there. Just puts the shot up and makes it.
No dilly-dallying, maybe some dilly-dillying as the Mustangs into the front court. Reiner dishes up top to Say. Now a skip pass across. Good ball movement leads to an open jumper by Mackenzie Lake that she drills. She's up to 5 points.
Really impressed with the ball movement of Plum so far. They're crisp passing. They're finding open shooters. Really both ways. I think they've done a good job, both teams, of moving the ball.
Palmone moves it to the far side of the floor. That leads to a jumper on the baseline that is stroked by Giles. Courtney Giles gets in the act and makes it 11-9. Plum maintaining the lead, but it's just down to 2 now.
And again, it's the unselfishness. Passing up an okay shot for a good shot.
Great catch by Montu on the lob passes. The Mustangs look to settle things down with Alexis Slay. So just a few steps inside half court. Now the basketball on the far side of the floor. Montu has it at the right elbow. Into the corner, shot partially blocked, tipped out. Great defense by Franklin Regional. Trombetta had her shot batted away. Ultimately, it's out of bounds off of Plum.
And again, they get nearly an open shot from the corner, but it's shorted. Looked like it was partially tipped there as Zick steps back in.
Juliana Merlina checks into the contest for the home squad. Franklin Regional clad in the white jerseys, the Mustangs in the black. 1:48 remaining in quarter number 1. As a feed down low goes through the hands of Merlina. Panthers able to keep it alive in the corner, but a traveling violation will give it quickly back to the Mustangs.
And Merlina was able to save that ball somehow, but it's still, at the end of the day, is going to work as the 4th turnover on the Panthers.
Reiner throws it ahead of the pack to Zick. Now Montu draws some contact and a quick whistle against the Panthers.
And that's going to go against Boyd.
Well, the fouls for the Mustangs have been a real issue. 5 team fouls. That's just the 2nd against the Panthers. On the trigger in. Montu has it tipped away from her. Noelle Boyd ahead of the pack. Layup opportunity off of Glash. And good, she hits the deck, no whistle. But Boyd gets her 2nd field goal, and we're tied at 11 points apiece.
I'll tell you, Boyd looks like a good athlete. Good pressure of the basketball.
Now the Mustangs get ahead of the pack. Point blank opportunity for Trombetta, no good. And a foul afterwards charged against Plum on the rebound opportunity.
I think the depth of both teams could potentially be tested in this game with the amount of foul calls we're seeing. As that is the 2nd foul on Montu, and that's a big one there.
Looks like she will stay on the floor, however. Again, the Mustangs don't have the luxury of depth that the Panthers boast at this point. Leopold with the basketball. Throws it ahead. Now a quick shot, misses everything. Panthers stay with it, a 3-pointer off the mark, but a good job by Wrights on the offensive glass. Another shot by Giles. She follows her miss, gets it right back. Franklin Regional getting some good looks. Will any of them fall? That one doesn't for Leopold, and the Mustangs finally corral the rebound.
The offensive board, 2nd chances galore there for Franklin Regional. They just couldn't find it.
Reiner with the basketball. Gives to Montu. Just over 30 seconds remaining in this first quarter. The Mustangs might be content to take the final shot. Zick picks up the dribble, gives back to Montu. She drives the baseline, loses the handle on the basketball, but a whistle as the Panthers charge with a foul.
And Montu, with that 5'11" size, does have that ability, though, to put the ball on the deck and drive to the rim. And I think she's going to end up being fouled a lot because of that. That's hard for teams to deal with, someone with that kind of size being able to cut, as that's the first foul on Brooke Leopold.
Montu to the line for 2 shots. 20.3 seconds remaining in quarter number 1. The team's deadlocked at 11. First shot off the mark. A
Franklin Regional 1 of 4 at the line. Now 0 for 1 is Montu and her team.
Second one upcoming for Montu. That shot is swished, so she gives the lead back to the Mustangs. It's 12-11 in favor of Plum. Now the Panthers have it with right. She moves back to Palamone. Three-pointer misses to the left. The Mustangs come up with the basketball. Now Zick drives baseline, tries to feed it underneath. Great defense by Courtney Giles, who came up with the steal, but then subsequently traveled. That means the Mustangs will have 1.3 seconds to try to get a shot off. So Say to trigger in. She throws it over the top. Desperation heave at the buzzer. Comes up a bit short for Mackenzie Lake as the first quarter comes to an end. The Plum lead, just 1 point. It is 12-11 in favor of the Mustangs. You are watching 2017-18 WPIAL Girls Basketball. It's sponsored by Carlow University. It's here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Check out the new Trib Live High School Sports Network on social media this season for breaking news, scores, pictures, videos, links to our articles, and more. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram under the handle Trib Live HSSN. Get in the conversation on Facebook at facebook.com/TribLiveHSSN. And on our YouTube channel, you can find thousands of interviews with local student athletes and coaches, plus highlights and full games. The spot for Western Pennsylvania high school sports on social media this season is the new Trib Live High School Sports Network.
For a weekly in-depth look at boys and girls high school basketball in the district, log on to the WPIAL Round Ball Report every Wednesday at 6 p.m. here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Join experts Chris Harlan, Sean Meyers, and James Dotson for coaches' interviews and the latest hoops news around the WPIAL. Oh, and Don Rebel is back on the show as well. That's the WPIAL Round Ball Report, Wednesday at 6 p.m. here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
We begin quarter number 2 with the visiting Plum Mustangs clinging to a 1-point lead over the homestanding Franklin Regional Panthers. I'm Sean Meyers alongside Josh Rowntree on the call. Chelsea Rowntree, the videographer for this win-and-you're-in scenario in the 5A classification. 4th place and a playoff bid on the line. Plum begins the second stanza in possession. The Mustangs try to get it to Montu, and she has it out of her reach. Basketball goes out of bounds. Last off of Plum for a turnover.
Well, after a quarter, statistically somewhat even. Turnovers even at 5, rebounds even at 9. Alex Wrights had 5 rebounds in that first quarter for Franklin Regional. 3 for Gianna Trombetta and Kennedy Montu, respectively.
Good ball movement around the perimeter leads to a 3-point attempt by Giles. She can't hit the shot. Basketball out of bounds, and it will stay with the Panthers. Giles to trigger in. Gets it to Carr. Now Carr drives inside. Layup opportunity a bit shy, and Montu strongly corrals the rebound.
Like that take, though, by Carr. Pretty good effort cutting through the D. Attacking the rim here will be key for Franklin Regional. Got to get through that outside perimeter defense.
Especially with the Mustangs already committing 16 fouls. 6 3-pointer in and out. That one halfway down. Rebound to the Panthers. Now Franklin Regional gets it to Yannicka ahead of the pack. She can't hit the shot. And a good job by Zick to corral the loose ball. Just over a minute into this second quarter. It's still 12-11, the lead for the Mustangs.
See
Courtney Callis under the weather. She'll certainly probably feel a little bit better if her team's able to capture this victory and head back to the playoffs for the second consecutive season. Good ball handling by Seneca, and she dishes off to the far side. 3-pointer by Zick is up and good, as she has had the stroke going early in this contest. 7 points for her. It is 15-11 in favor of Plum.
That all started, though, with a defensive breakdown from that crossover move by Seneca, who's playing out here with 2 fouls.
Wrights can't get the shot inside. Mustangs come up with the basketball. Lake now with the dribble across the timeline slowly. Now she picks up the pace, tried to leave a pass off, but great defense by Yannicka. She's ahead of the pack, has it swatted away from behind by Montu. Good defense both ways. First by Yannicka with the steal, Montu with the recovery block.
You're absolutely right, Sean. That's a great call. You like that defensive effort on both sides, and that's, as we mentioned, playoff type of atmosphere in this one. It's the kind of effort that you need, and both teams going at it. They're going to pause here for a shoe that needs to be tied, and been very pleased watching both defensive efforts.
5:57 left, quarter number 2. As the Panthers go inside out. Wright's pass is tipped and then stolen, and then Franklin Regional commits a foul after Montu is able to come up with the basketball.
Panther foul number 13, Jordan
Yannicka charged with her first.
15 foul, out of bounds, Plum.
It's 11 fouls already that have been called.
Franklin Regional has not scored yet in this second quarter.
There's a little 1-3-1.
And it pays off. Yannicka comes up with the steal, gives to Palamone. Palamone to the cup and one as she gets it to roll home and was fouled in the process.
What a take by Palamone off the turnover. Plum with 3 turnovers here in this quarter on the Mustangs, and Palamone makes him finish at the other end.
Palamone, 2 impressive years at Woodland Hills, and she's been great in now her second season with the Panthers, but can't convert the 3-point play, misses the foul shot. And a foul charged to what looks to be Palamone. That is the 17th foul, so the Mustangs will head to the line for the 1-and-1 opportunity.
That is going to be her second, if I'm not mistaken. It is. So she's playing with 2.
What? That's the 17th foul. No, my mistake.
No,
16th
it's
foul.
the other
All right.
way.
So the Mustangs not yet in the bonus. Bit premature on that one. And they get called for a 5-second violation. As Alexis Say could not get the basketball in time. Give credit to the Panthers defensively.
This has just been pretty careless here by Plum. Amazing that with the 4 turnovers, they still are maintaining a lead here on the road. Franklin Regional hasn't been able to put any distance, but despite all of the carelessness with the ball.
Yannicka takes a contested jumper, doesn't matter, she strokes it. Jordan Yannicka's second field goal deadlocks this contest at 15-15.
She has a nice looking release. Gets the elbow up. Good little set shooter for sure. Must be a nice player.
Mustangs break the pressure to get it in to Montu, just off of the front iron. She had a good look at it, couldn't get it to go. Up with the rebound, Giles. Now she dishes it ahead to Yannicka. Yannicka, another field goal. This one of a much easier variety. First lead of the game for Franklin Regional, 17-15.
And a timeout has to be taken by Steve Elsier.
With that timeout, 30 seconds, we'll keep it right here and let you know that if you're a working professional ready to move up in your career, Seton Hill University has a program just for you. Seton Hill's adult degree program offers flexible undergraduate degree courses in areas like accounting, criminal justice, business, and human services. The adult degree program has 5 start dates a year, offers convenient course times, financial aid, a 96% placement rate, and career services for life. Register for our next info session and learn more at setonhill.edu/ADP. Seton Hill University, this way up. Well, Josh, the Panthers got off to a slow start in this contest, a slow start in the second quarter, but nearing the halfway mark of the second stanza, they now have their first lead.
Yeah, and it's really been because of the turnovers that have been forced by the Panthers. They've been able to get up and down the floor, find some open shots, and it's all starting with great defense, particularly on the perimeter. They're defending the perimeter really well. They play really long. They're not particularly long, but they play long on the outside.
Zick has been red hot from distance as she strokes another three-pointer, her second of the quarter. The lead quickly back to the Mustangs at 18-17.
Zick with 10 points now.
Yannicka's feeling the hot hand as well, but that time can't get the jumper to go from the baseline, and the Mustangs come up with the rebound. It looks like Plum trying to slow the pace with Seneca holding the basketball in the front court. Now feeds down low, a lot of contact there, no call on this one as Yannicka ahead of the pack, but she's charged with the travel.
I think it was a good call, though, at the other end. I thought the ball was hit and actually popped up and hit her in the face. And it was just the good defense, really, the hand in there, not actually any real contact.
Plum once again in the half-court set. Seneca with the basketball. Gets it into Montu. Now she splits a double team, comes up shy, follows her miss, can't get the shot to go as it hung up on the rim, fell off, but she's going to head to the charity stripe.
And I think that for Plum is what they need more of. Try to get that ball onto the block, down in the paint to Montu. That's the second foul on Noelle Boyd. She's a young player, and I think it's something that's going to develop with time, is that ability to go down onto the block and make yourself big, post up, and basically demand the basketball down there. And that's maybe one area you see with kind of gifted athletic players early, is that they just sort of want to hang out around the perimeter, and they want to be a guard when they're probably a forward. And I think for Kennedy Montu, that's going to come, that ability to just post up and dominate down in the low post.
Montu hit the first, misses the second as the Mustangs have a 2-point edge. It's 19-17. Just over halfway through quarter number 2 and a turnover. Up at the basketball for the Mustangs, Lake, but she throws it away, a little too eager to try to find Jamie Seneca cut into the hoop.
Yeah, Lake's made some really good passes in this game. That's not one of them, though. That's a very typical kind of fast break sort of turnover where there's 3 defenders between you and your teammate, and you try to lob it over everybody to a player that's running full force underneath the rim. And 99% of the time, that's going to end up as a turnover, or you're going to put your teammate in a bad spot if they're able to catch that ball.
3:32 left in quarter number 2. Mustangs holding a 19-17 lead over the Panthers. Yanniga takes another jumper, this one a bit strong. Lake with the rebound. Yanniga missed the vast majority of last season with the knee injury. Panthers are glad to have her back. She's been obviously a key part of their success. Montu on the move, trying to get to the cup, goes all the way hoop for 2 points.
Franklin Regional thinking that she traveled, looked like she maybe did shuffle the feet before as she was heading to the rim. Franklin Regional, they were adamant. Now here's the ball thrown away.
Leopold tracks it down, but it's a over and back violation.
Turnovers were 4-1 to start this quarter, in the quarter. It is now 6 for Plum and 4 for Franklin Regional. So things have evened out, and that's going to, I think, force Courtney Callis to take a timeout.
30-second timeout. We'll keep it right here. Once again, there's a lot on the line for this contest. Hampton Mars Armstrong already into the postseason from Section 4 in the 5A classification. These teams, Franklin Regional, Plum, both 3-8. Winner will move on to the playoffs. The loser will see its playoff hopes dashed.
And, Armstrong's done a nice job. They have moved from next to last in the section now to a third-place finish, and now that leaves these 2 teams who both made the postseason last year battling for that final spot. Oddly enough, both teams went 6-6 last year, Sean, to get in. This year they're 3-8 so far, so it really comes down, as we mentioned, to this game to decide who's going to represent the section as the 4th team in.
As Alexis Say awaits the basketball to trigger in. Excuse me, that is Briner who gives it to the aforementioned Say. And she now hands to Montu. Good feed down low, inside out. But unfortunately for the Mustangs, Briner had an open shot, decided to try to drive in, and in the process shuffled her feet.
Yeah, maybe too much passing. They worked that ball inside, and instead of maybe turning and going up for a basket because you have the advantage, they end up kicking it out, and it goes as a turnover. And sometimes I think ball movement is obviously key, and you want to move the ball as well and efficiently as possible, but sometimes you just have to attack, and I think that's maybe a little bit of what both teams need to do right now.
Yanniga misses on the 8-foot jumper, battle for the basketball. It'll be a jump ball, as a little bit of physicality on the back end of that one. Possession arrow keeps it with the Panthers.
Yeah, you would expect that with what's on the line, with the fact that it is Franklin Regional and Plum, bordering rivals, and you expect that kind of emotion to show in this game. You would hope so, at least. I think as a coach, you want to see. We mentioned 2 seconds into the game, there were bodies on the ground going after a loose ball. That's what you want.
Palamone back into the contest with 2 fouls for the Panthers, has the basketball now.
Good job denying entry here by Plum. They're not letting anything get inside cleanly. And it's Montu in the middle that's really doing a good job in there.
Jumper from just inside the foul line by Boyd, off the mark. Battle for the basketball.
That's 3 on Montu.
And that will lead to a 1-and-1 scenario for the Panthers, as Boyd to head to the charity stripe.
Going to have to get Montu out now.
Indeed, she does check out of the contest.
Yeah, she's played a long time, with that second foul. She did a good job of, being fairly physical but not committing that third foul, but now she has.
Zick back to the floor for Plum. 2:06 remaining, quarter number 2. Mustangs holding a 4-point lead. And the first shot converted by Boyd, so she earns the second. Plum has led for the vast majority of this first half. But Boyd trims the deficit, going 2 of 2 at the line. It's now 21-19 in favor of the Mustangs.
She has 6 points off the bench.
Say gives to Seneca. Seneca swinging the basketball. Moves it across the Trombetta. Now to the near corner with Seneca. Where's the offense going to come from for the Mustangs with Montu on the bench? Seneca hopes to find someone a three-pointer, but misses everything. Palamone grabs the rebound. Spins inside, loses the handle. Now it's between her legs as she goes down to grab it. And a foul called against the Mustangs.
It's going to be against Briner, went to the floor, and as Palamone was trying to collect the ball. And that's to me, that's a foul that I think you let go. Palamone is careless with the ball, puts it on the deck, and Briner's going after it. They run into each other, and Briner gets hit with a foul, and she really doesn't like it. Steve Elsier really doesn't like the call either, and I would have to agree with Plum on that one. I think that's when a player gets careless and loses control of the ball, I think that's an equal ball to both players to go after.
And really, it's sort of a bailout for Palamone, who strokes the first. She now has 6 points in the contest and has an opportunity to tie it if she can hit the second. Mustangs have committed 9 team fouls. Second shot is good for Palamone. We're even once again, this time at 21-21. Less than a minute and a half remaining in this second quarter. Sean Meyers, Josh Rowntree here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Chelsea Rowntree manning the camera. Section finale for these squads. Now ball fake by Seneca, moves it up top to Zick. She drives the left lane and kicks back out. Blake has it stripped away, but the first player to it is Plum Zick. The offense just looks out of rhythm with Montu on the bench, but the Panthers commit a foul that's going to send Plum to the line.
I think there's some uneasiness now in the crowd and certainly on the benches about the amount of fouls that have been called. You have some important players dealing with foul trouble. 3 on Montu, 2 on Seneca of Plum. On the other side, Yanniga and Palamone and Boyd all with 2 as well. Those are 5 really good players that are now going to have to be concerned about their foul trouble, at least for the rest of this half and then probably early on in half number 2. And for Montu, really for the entire third quarter, is going to have to play clean.
Say to the line for a 1-on-1 scenario, and she converts. Gives the lead back to the Mustangs at 22-21. Say's first point of this contest. Takes the dribble and strokes the second shot as well.
Good looking shots there.
23-21 in favor of the Mustangs. Now under a minute remaining in quarter number 2. Palamone has it on the far side. Moves the basketball up top to Giles. Now they get it down low. Turning shot off of glass is good for Juliana Merlina. Her first points of this contest.
That's all the ball movement there. And boy, Say had a wide open 3. Nobody from Plum stepped out and guarded her. She just stopped at the 3-point line and then just sort of looked around and didn't do anything with it.
Say with the basketball once again, has her drive cut off, throws it where Seneca just able to save it before it crossed midcourt. Good job by Jamie Seneca to track it down. Now Lake doing a lot of dribbling up top. Down to the final 5 seconds. Gives to Zick, her three-pointer off a front iron, loose ball. Panthers come up with it as the final seconds tick off and we head into the half Tied at 23-23 between Plum and Franklin Regional. We'll step aside. We'll be back quickly to give the score and recap and our thoughts on the first 16 minutes of action. You're watching 2017-18 WPIAL Girls Basketball. It's here. It's on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
While the weather outside may be frightful, the winter high school sports is delightful. That's here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Log on to the Trib, hssn.triblive.com for weekly audio and video coverage of boys and girls high school basketball, WPIAL wrestling, and PIHL high school hockey. The warmth and the glow of the winter sports season may be heard daily on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
The team at UPMC Sports Medicine doesn't just rebuild wrists and knees. They build better athletes. Athletes at every level who want to get stronger and faster and prevent injuries. Fact is, no other sports medicine program in the region is more experienced when it comes to treating, training, and inspiring athletes. UPMC, the official healthcare provider of the Penguins, Steelers, and you. Find out more at upmcsportsmedicine.com.
Check out the new and improved Trib Live High School Sports Network website every day. Log on to Trib, hssn.triblive.com for all the schedules, the scores, the standings, great articles, and features from around the WPIAL. And, of course, live and archived broadcasts. If you are a high school sports fan, the only website you will need is the new Trib Live High School Sports Network at hssn.triblive.com.
People ask what drives me. It's the respect I have for my opponents, the trust I have in my teammates, a coach who treats me with dignity, and a university that has faith in me on and off the field. That's what keeps me focused, why I practice harder, play my heart out. I play to win. I play for Carlo. Tell us your story using #WhatDriveYou.
Carlo University is a proud sponsor of the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Hi, this is Josh Rowntree with the new Trib Live High School Sports Network's PIHL Power Play Show. This winter, myself and the coach, Kevin Zlomansky, will bring you the most comprehensive coverage of high school hockey in Western PA. Hey, Kevin, any suggestions on how we can pull it off?
We're not goons. We're not bullies. No matter what people say or do, we have to be ourselves.
Okay. Well, word is that you've been letting success go to your head a bit.
Okay, what I do is none of your business. Is that clear?
This should be a fun season. It's the PIHL Power Play Show every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock on the new Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Back here at Franklin Regional High School, we have played one half and nothing's been decided yet as the homestanding Panthers deadlocked with the visiting Plum Mustangs, 23-23. I'm Sean Meyers alongside the voice you just heard, Josh Rowntree. Chelsea Rowntree manning the camera here for this video broadcast. Josh, is this sort of what you expected from these teams in the first half of play? Obviously very even, as the scoreboard indicates.
Yeah, I think the only thing that maybe wasn't on the docket of my expectations was the amount of fouls that we've seen, and I think some of that is maybe a byproduct of how the teams have played, and some of that is maybe a byproduct of the officials that we have tonight. Not to say that they've necessarily called it badly, they've just called it tight, and maybe a couple that were called that I don't necessarily agree with, but they have called it evenly, I think, both ways. But beyond that, yeah, I mean, I think this is about what you expected. I said earlier I didn't think either team would reach 50. I thought the game would be played, in the mid-40s, somewhere there, and we're at 23-23 here at halftime. Really, I think one of the problems for both squads is the turnovers. You have Plum that has 12 turnovers to this point. Franklin Regional has 9 to this point. 21 turnovers between two teams is a little bit high. And then you look at, as well for Franklin Regional, 5 of 9 at the free throw line. Those are some important missed free throws in this game. And obviously, those are the types of things you look at. If you don't win the game, you look back and think, oh, what could have been if you just make those free throws. So we'll try to improve that here in the second half. But, yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty much what was to be expected, and I think both teams are fighting pretty hard with a playoff spot on the line.
You mentioned some of the statistics. Let's get into the full scoring recap now, which, of course, is sponsored by UPMC Sports Medicine, which is powering the Stay Strong and Play On program with the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
We will start with the Plum Mustangs. They are being led by Kelsey Zick. She has 10 points here at the break, 6 from Kennedy Montu to go with a team-high 5 rebounds. and 5 points from Mackenzie Lake. 2 points from Alexa Say. Lake has 4 rebounds. Zick has 3, as does Trombetta. They grabbed 16 rebounds and were 4 of 6 at the line. Plum turned the ball over 12 times in that first half. And for Franklin Regional, they are being led by Izzy Palamone, 7 points for her. Jordan Yaniga has 6, as does Noelle Boyd. Boyd's points all coming off the bench. 2 points apiece for Courtney Giles and Juliana Merlina. And rebounding the ball, they have 16 rebounds as well. So it's even at 16. It was even at 9 after a quarter. That's how close we have been. And leading for Franklin Regional in rebounding is Alex Wrights. She grabbed 7 boards in that first half. And then 2 apiece from Palamone, Yaniga, and Giles. And they turned the ball over 9 times. And again, they were 5 of 9 were the Panthers at the free throw line. Score by quarter, Franklin Regional 11-12, Plum 12-11. So it's been close. It's been tight from the very beginning, and I would expect that to continue here in the second half.
Do you see any changes or adjustments coming from these coaches? Obviously, they're going to have to deal with some foul issues amongst some of the top players, but other than trying to maybe protect those star players, what can you do as a coach to get this game in your favor?
Well, I think that certainly plays a role, particularly with Plum and Montu. It's going to affect how they maybe play on the defensive side. I thought they, as the game progressed, they did a better job denying those entries to the post area and to the paint, to the free throw line as well. And a lot of that was Montu's length and athleticism getting out and being able to defend those entry passes. Now, if she's continuing into foul trouble here in the second half, that really changes things, and you're going to have to really kind of take a second look at how you maybe defend those things. But they do have some size on the interior, and I think they could still sort of play a similar sort of brand. On the other side for Plum, I think you got to work the ball inside when Montu's in there. You got to work the ball inside to her. You have to give her the ball in position where she can cut to the rim. You take it down the sides of the lane and have her lay the ball in. That's, I think, their best offense. And then off that, too, I think you get some open looks on the outside. And we saw that in the first half, particularly from Kelsey Zick, who was able to knock down some shots. For Franklin Regional, before the game, Courtney Callis told us, Sean, that, ideally, they would like to play a transition kind of game, a little bit up-tempo. I thought they did some good things with the press. They were able to create some turnovers on the defensive side. They weren't really able, I thought, to transition all that well based off all the turnovers that they were forcing. They were able to do it a little bit. But I
think they tried, but they probably had sometimes maybe went a little too fast for their own good.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think they were able to force the turnovers, and then for one reason or another, and part of that is credit to Plum for getting back, but they weren't able to turn those into transition buckets. And, if you convert some more of those opportunities, you're going to be in a much better spot. But I think for both of these teams, the matter becomes finishing here in this second half. That's the biggest thing. I think when you're at this point of the year, you talk about adjustments, and that plays a role. But I think everybody knows now what's on the line. You have to finish when you get those opportunities, and I expect both teams to do their best to do so here after halftime.
Quarter number 3, just a few minutes away. We're going to step aside quickly before we get you back to the action. You're watching 2017-18 WPIAL Girls Basketball. It's a video broadcast, and it's sponsored by Carl University here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
AstroTurf, a pioneer in sports surfacing, proudly supports high school athletics. Visit one of their 280 fields in the tri-state area to see their cutting-edge technology. AstroTurf's focus on R&D enables them to provide innovative surfaces that protect athletes and stand the test of time. AstroTurf now propels performance with iconic turf fields and legendary Record-Tan tracks. They manufacture, build, and maintain a full range of turf and track systems for total quality control. Learn more at astroturf.com.
The team at UPMC Sports Medicine doesn't just rebuild wrists and knees. They build better athletes. Athletes at every level who want to get stronger and faster and prevent injuries. Fact is, no other sports medicine program in the region is more experienced when it comes to treating, training, and inspiring athletes. UPMC, the official healthcare provider of the Penguins, Steelers, and you. Find out more at upmcsportsmedicine.com.
People ask what drives me. It's the respect I have for my opponents, the trust I have in my teammates, a coach who treats me with dignity, and a university that has faith in me on and off the field. That's what keeps me focused, why I practice harder, play my heart out. I play to win. I play for Carlo. Tell us your story using #WhatDriveSYou.
Carlow University is a proud sponsor of the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Inside.
Just about set to begin quarter number 3 here at Franklin Regional High School. Schools deadlocked 23-23 between the Panthers and the Plum Mustangs. I'm Sean Meyers alongside Josh Rowntree. Want to let you know that if you're a working professional ready to move up in your career, Seton Hill University has a program just for you. Seton Hill's adult degree program offers flexible undergraduate degree courses in areas like accounting, criminal justice, business, and human services. The adult degree program has 5 start dates a year and offers convenient course times, financial aid, a 96% placement rate, and career services for life. Register for our next info session and learn more at setonhill.edu/ADP. Seton Hill University, this way up.
And a Seton Hill connection with the Panthers. Their head coach, Courtney Callis, was an assistant at Seton Hill. Played at Juniata College as well. And a terrific player at Freeport, was on a team that made it to the championship game when she was in high school in 2004. It's also a gold medalist in track and field, but a connection to Seton Hill with Courtney Callis. I think everybody that coaches basketball in Westmoreland County has some sort of connection maybe to Seton Hill in some way.
Every single one, you're right. As the Mustangs begin this third quarter in possession, going left to right. As you see it, clad in the black jerseys with the gold numbers. Franklin Regional in the home white jerseys. As tight defense by the Panthers to begin this frame. Montu back on the floor for Plum with her 3 fouls. As Lake takes a three-pointer, a bit strong. Battle for the rebound. Montu went down, but the Panthers stepped on the baseline. Yannick was able to get to it, but just was not able to keep her feet in play, so the Mustangs will trigger it in front of their own bench.
You know, one thing with Montu as well, it talked about, you know, how talented she is and young, obviously. I think she needs to develop a little bit more physically down low. She needs to be able to play. I mean, right now, that possession of low, Yannick just pushed her around.
Palamone comes up with the steal. Dishes off to Yannick as it goes through her hands, and the Mustangs come up with the loose ball. Now Say gives off to Montu, who goes behind the back with the dribble. Palamone really extending defensively for Franklin Regional. As Zick's feed down low for a bounce pass. And a foul committed by Franklin Regional, as that probably favored the Mustangs, as Lake had very little real estate to work with on the baseline after making that catch.
That'll be on Caitlin Carr. That's another one of those bailout fouls we have seen.
Yeah, Lake had nowhere to go. So the Mustangs trigger in with Zick, leading scorer for Plum in the first half. Seneca gives to Montu against a double team, able to turn inside, can't get the shot to go, loose ball. Team still battling for it, it's out of bounds, and Franklin Regional's basketball.
And that's okay there. That's I think the offense that Plum needs to sort of develop with Montu is getting her down on the block and letting her go to work. And I think right now the battle with her and Jordan Yanniga is really going to be a fun one to watch here in this second half, particularly on that side of the court with them trying to get the ball to Montu. Yanniga's D'ing her up tight.
A feed down low from Wrights to Palamone. Good catch by Palamone. Throws it high off the glass. Can't get it to go. Wrights follows it up. Offensive rebound leads to a 3. Yanniga's putback doesn't go, and a foul finally committed. We've seen a couple possessions for the Panthers where they've had 3 or 4 shots. Josh can't get them to go, as Plum charged with the foul. It will be on the floor.
Kelsey Zick hit with the personal. Her first, team first. Franklin Regional, they have moved the ball well. They've got second, sometimes third looks, but the shots just haven't fallen enough for them.
Good ball movement from Palamone to Yannicka, and then she's called for the traveling violation.
I don't know how that's a travel there because the ball was hit. It's either a dual possession
or she kind of
foul.
She kind of brought it through the defender's body, and
but if you go up and the ball is contacted by a hand and you come back down with it because of that contact, that is a dual possession. That should not be a travel. If the ball wasn't contacted, then it has to be a foul because she was terribly altered.
Timeout taken by the Mustangs and by their head coach Steve Elsier, as he saw another player trapped near midcourt. So the Mustangs will talk things over. By the way, didn't see much opposition on that somewhat controversial call from Franklin Regional head coach Courtney Callis. She's now talking to her team.
And you look at, for both of these teams, Sean, we talked about the struggles coming in. Plum losing 5 of their last 6 games. Franklin Regional has lost 7 of their last 8. And I think both of these teams, they know each other so well, and I'm sure so many of these players know each other from just being in bordering communities and growing up near each other. And there's a lot on the line in this game, as we talked about, and I think for both teams right now, it's crunch time.
Lake loses the basketball. Panthers come up with it. Now Palmone ahead of the pack, draws contact, puts the shot up, but the foul committed on the floor. And down for the Plum Mustangs is Mackenzie Lake after taking that foul.
Looked like maybe she caught an elbow as she came through there. She might have taken an elbow to the face or the head area. She went down hard.
Talking to her head coach, Anna Trainers. Now she rolls over to her back. You can see she is shaken up. Now she pulls the jersey over her face.
And it wasn't an intentional elbow. She just ran into an elbow or a shoulder maybe perhaps. And she's kind of shaking the cobwebs out right now. I hope she's okay, but you have to imagine she'll be at least checked out for any type of head injury that could be occurring. So
that's really, you see it every now and then in basketball. It's really the worst case scenario where you get shaken up and you're charged with the foul, and that's exactly the case here against Mackenzie Lake, her second personal.
You look at it now, Lake has 2, Montu has 3, and Seneca has 2.
I think Lake wanted to stay in the contest, but
yeah, she can't once
they will usher her to the sidelines, and Trombetta returns to the floor. Again, the foul committed before the shot attempt by Palamone, so the Panthers will trigger in. Palamone has it up top. Gives off to Carr. Now to Yanniga. Up to Carr. She had a look at it. Drives inside. Throws an underhanded layup attempt. Hits off of the bottom of the iron, and the Mustangs come up with it.
3 different times there they passed up on what was a better shot than what they eventually got. They had 3 open looks, I thought, from the outside, and they just didn't take them.
Well, the Mustangs quickly turn it right back over as Say wasn't able to get on the same page as their teammates.
Plum has turned it over 15 times. We're still without a point here, 2.5 minutes into this third quarter.
Palamone looking to change that. And a
offensive
foul away from the basketball.
It's on Carr. Looked like maybe an illegal screen set up top there. Now Carr with a pair of personals. 4 different players with 2 fouls for the Panthers.
Carr is yet to find a scoring column in this contest. Say has it on the near wing. Gives up top to Seneca, drives and kicks. Montu's 3-pointer comes up short. Basketball tipped around, and the Mustangs able to keep it alive. Great effort.
That's Zick over there. Got to that ball falling into her own bench.
And now a foul charged against Franklin Regional. Palamone can't believe it. We'll see who it's called against.
That's the first on Giles.
Third team foul against Franklin Regional. The Mustangs have committed 2. As the offense is yet to get going either way. Montu drives inside with the left hand, a bit strong, but draws contact and will head to the line for 2 shots.
And that's what Montu needs to do more of. Get that ball in a good spot and attack. And you get it somewhere within the free throw line, put it on the deck, drive into your opponent, and that's the 3rd foul now on Yanniga.
Yanniga's been one of the more aggressive players for the Panthers in this contest. Montu's first to give the lead back to Plum is good.
And if I'm both Montu and Yanniga, despite the fact that Yanniga's checking out now, that's what I'm doing when I get the ball, is I'm putting my head down and I'm going into the opponent trying to draw a foul.
Boyd back into the contest for the Panthers. Second one up coming for Montu. Swishes that to give the Mustangs a 2-point edge at 25-23. Just under 5 minutes remaining. Quarter number 3. Playoff spot on the line between the Mustangs and the Panthers. Palmone throws it ahead to Wrights. Now a wide open three-pointer by Caitlin Carr. She's on the board, giving the lead back to Franklin Regional 26-25.
Yeah, Franklin Regional finding open shots here, and mentioned it moments ago. They passed up 2 or 3 really good looks. That time, Carr made no mistake about it. She was putting that ball in the air.
Seneca loses the handle. Carr comes up with it. Tries to feed off as the basketball trickles out of bounds. Was it tipped by the Mustangs?
Some indecision here, it looks like, on who should have the ball. I think it's going to stay down at this end, though. It will.
So Giles to inbound for the homestanding Panthers. Sean Meyers, Josh Rowntree on the call. Chelsea Rowntree manning the camera. We're just about halfway through quarter number 3. The Panthers holding a 1-point edge. Carr's pass through the hands of Palomone. That was a dangerous pass to begin with. It goes out of bounds for a turnover.
We've had 8 turnovers, and we have not even played 4 minutes in the quarter. 4 aside. Plum has turned it over 16 times in the game, 13 on Franklin Regional.
Dribbling up top for the Mustangs is Say. Gets it to Montu. Again, fouled on her shot attempt and will head back to the line. She's averaging almost 13 points a game. The top scorer for the Mustangs.
That is Boyd's third.
Montu is accounted for the only Plum points in the third quarter. She hits another foul shot.
I like the aggressiveness, and I think Steve Elsier has, I don't know, maybe he heard us talking about it at halftime there, but they've gotten the ball to Montu in good spots, and now she's getting to the free throw line. She's so athletic and long, and she can cut to the rim, now has 10 points. She's really hard to defend inside and just naturally draws fouls.
Plum holding a 1-point lead after Montu's foul shots went down. It's 27-26 in favor of the Mustangs.
With Yanniga out, I think maybe Franklin Regional needs to get Palomone down low as well and have her do a little bit of what Yanniga was doing. You see her now go inside. There it is.
She goes against the double team, can't hit the layup. An offensive rebound, putback attempt by Boyd comes up short. Montu snags the rebound.
Yeah, I like the idea, though. Get that ball inside to Palomone, into the paint, give her a little space, and get clean looks.
Now Zick, who has been red hot from distance, stays red hot. She strokes another, her third trifecta. It's 30-26 in favor of the Mustangs.
Franklin Regional burns a timeout here. That's excellent inside-out ball movement. Really both ways, I think. Getting clean shots on the outside, but particularly Plum, working that ball out to Zick. And, boy, spot-up shooter, you give her a smidgen of space, and she's able to knock it down, and that's exactly what she did on that one.
Had more than a smidgen. Zick averaging under 8 points per game. She's well surpassed that. Had 10 in the first half, now 13 after the most recent shot from behind the arc. This is a beautiful gym, by the way, at Franklin Regional. You could probably see some of it on this video feed. They have a state-of-the-art scoreboard. Really a great facility here, and one that is well-deserved for the Panthers, who have had great success on the boys' side this year.
Mm-hmm.
A team that had not won a section since 2008 splits the section with Highlands. Talked to head coach Steve Scorpy, and today he's thrilled about where his team's at and thinks that they have a chance maybe to get a number 3 seed heading into the playoffs, depending on how the rest of the season plays out.
Yeah, they have had a nice year in a battle-tested section, and you mentioned this facility. It's terrific. Scores tables on each side. If they can, they play playoff games here, I know. They used to actually hold the WPIAL volleyball championships at this facility. It was a great spot for those championships, but they do playoff games here and hold a number of events here throughout the year, and it really is a nice spot here in this community.
Leopold moves the basketball to Giles. Seneca extends the defense on her. Back to Giles now. Palomone in the corner. Three-pointer off the mark, tipped around. Palomone tracks it down. Now she loses the handle. Good steal by the Mustangs. Ahead of the pack is Say, and she goes in for a layup attempt. and was fouled in the process. She will head to the line.
Good attack by Say. Gets that ball with a little bit of room, and she says, you know what, I'm going to take this. Just charges down the court, and that's going to be the 4th foul on Noelle Boyd. There's now 6 fouls on Franklin Regional in this quarter. We still have 2:49 left in the quarter. Free throws are going to be important here in this second half.
The Mustangs perfect 5 of 5 at the stripe in this third quarter. As Merlina checks back into the contest, Boyd with her 4 fouls head to the bench. And now they're checking with the scorers table. 31-26 the lead for the Mustangs. Second shot upcoming for Say. That one rattles out, but an offensive rebound by Zick. And she gives right back to Say.
A big-time offensive rebound there. A 5-point lead. You miss the free throw, but you get a chance at an extra possession. And now a foul call away from the ball. Is that on Montu? No. It's going to be on Franklin Regional. I think it's going to be on Wrights.
That is the 7th team foul, which puts the Mustangs in the bonus.
Wrights and Montu were tied up around the elbow, and Wrights must have got with the free arm in there and given a little too much pressure.
Montu has already hit 6 foul shots in this contest. Has a chance to add to that total. Make it 7 as that one just barely fell after hanging up on the rim for a couple seconds. That extends the Mustangs' lead to 32-26.
Shooter's touch on that one, eh? Ball rolled all around.
She'll take it. Getting closer to her average offensive production.
She's made 7 free throws.
Can't hit the second one, but it's tracked down once again by Plum and by Zick. Now Seneca loses the handle. Good job by Say to come up with it.
And remember these offensive rebounds by Zick. There's a tie-up, though. It'll give it the other way.
Now, the Panthers need to do a better job of coming up with the defensive rebounds, and foul trouble's been a major concern as well. As Leopold gives to Palomone, who gives it right back to her teammate.
Plum has taken 8 free throws here in the quarter.
Palomone had some room on the catch. Instead gets it down low to Wrights on a tip pass. Now Leopold up top.
Good work inside.
Wrights can't hit the shot, however. Good straight-up defense by Montu, and a foul committed. A loose ball foul against the Panthers will send Montu right back to the charity stripe. Was it not a foul? I guess.
No, they didn't put it up.
Simply out of bounds against the Panthers. My mistake.
I like that play, though, getting that ball on the block to Wrights. She had good positioning, just didn't make the shot. Oh, and this ball just flat out lost.
Unforced error by Alexis Say.
18 turnovers on Plum, 6 here in the quarter. Amazing they're winning this game with that many turnovers.
1:51 remaining, quarter number 3. It's 32-26 in favor of the Mustangs. Wrights shot from just inside the arc, a bit strong, but an offensive rebound by Franklin Regional's Palomone. Now a 3-point attempt from the far side by Giles, comes up short. She gets it right back. Gets it up top to Leopold, who gives to Palomone.
Now, how big have offensive rebounds been for both teams in this game?
Wright's pass tipped into the corner. It's tracked down by Franklin Regional. Palomone's begging for the basketball. She doesn't get it. Instead, a quick shot by Leopold. Now some energy coming into the crowd for Franklin Regional.
I think a bit of a Bronx cheer there as well, as the foul discrepancy was 7-2.
Now 7-3 as Say gets charged with her second.
Now, offensive rebounding so key. How about the boards by Zick at one end? Giles gets a big offensive rebound on that series.
Wrights inside, traveled. She disagrees. Nonetheless, Mustangs basketball.
Each team with 6 turnovers here in this third quarter. Wow.
Lake tightly covered by Giles.
Good D. Good D by Giles. Didn't let her drive. Lake was looking to go right around her and Giles stayed right with her.
Montu drives inside against the double team, moves it back to Zick. That one halfway down but comes out, and the rebound goes to the Panthers. Now Palamone ahead of the pack, 1-on-3. Bit strong on the layup, and the Mustangs have it. Lake has the basketball and hands off. Less than 45 seconds now remaining in quarter number 3. Mustangs up by 6. Trying to make it a 3-possession game. Say throws the basketball away.
There's just some serious disconnect with the ball. You look now, Franklin Regional, they have scored 3 points in this quarter. They need to find some offense here in the last 30 seconds. They got to come out of this on a positive note.
Wrights has the basketball blocked, stays with it, throws it back up top.
Second big block in this game for Montu. Third.
Down low, and she's rejected Merlina that time.
3 huge blocks by Montu in this game, 2 on that series alone. 10 seconds left.
Lake with the basketball. Mustangs
Lake got
hoping
away
to get a final shot off here. Lake takes it, comes up just short as the rebound to Wrights. The third quarter comes to an end. It wasn't pretty offensively, but Plum holding a 32-26 lead over Franklin Regional as we move to quarter number 4. You're watching 2017-18 WPIAL Girls Basketball, sponsored by Carlow University. It's here. It's on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
The WPIAL Wrestling Circle every Monday at 7 o'clock on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Each week, we'll take a look at the latest happenings on the mat from around the WPIAL, talk with coaches, and get you set for what's to come as the season rolls on. Come out and see us every Monday as the show we broadcast live from 40 Bar and Grill just west of Washington on Route 40 inside the WPIAL Wrestling Circle every Monday night at 7 o'clock only here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Trib Live has a little something for everyone. Sports from high school to the pros. News from across the street and around the world. Arts and entertainment, lifestyles, opinion, weather, photo galleries, video. You can even find your next job, house, and car. So look alive, Pittsburgh, and get the news you want and information you need all in one place. TribLive.com. TribLive.com. News and more 24/7.
For a weekly in-depth look.
Sorry to cut you off, Lanny, but we have fourth quarter action to get to here in Murraysville. Franklin Regional High School, the venue for this 5A Section 4 battle for the final playoff spot out of the section between Franklin Regional and Plum. The Mustangs, the road team, holding a 32-26 lead as quarter number 4 just underway. Three-pointer by Carr off a front iron. Montu has been dominant at times on the glass as she snags another rebound.
8 rebounds now for Montu. The other way, Wrights has 10, rebounding 24-24 now.
Yanniga back onto the floor for Franklin Regional.
18 turnovers for Plum, 15 for Franklin Regional.
Pass to Montu, tipped around, and Wrights comes up with a steal. Now a collision and a foul called against Plum's Mackenzie Lake as she knocked Alex Wrights to the floor.
And that's going to be the third foul on Lake. So Lake with 3, Montu with 3, Seneca and Say each with 2 on Plum. For Franklin Regional, 2 on Carr, 3 on Yanniga, 2 on Palamone, 4 on Boyd, and 2 on Wrights.
Montu with the steal. She's ahead of the pack for 2 points in the layup.
Gets in on the field goal act. That's her first field goal since the first half, but she has 13 points. She's busy at the line in the last quarter, 5 of 6 there.
Mustangs now up by 8, 34-26. Right shot spins around. Yannick offensive rebound, put back. That one hung up on the rim, doesn't go. Montu grabs it underneath. Now she's double teamed, trying to get rid of the basketball, and does.
She's a rebound away from a double-double.
Lake has it as Palamone spills to the floor. She's slow to get up for the Panthers. Montu drives inside down the left lane, has the basketball swatted away. Yannicka has it. Dishes ahead to Caitlin Carr, comes in for a layup. Good little move, but can't finish. And a jump ball as Yannicka and Say were battling for it. Alternating possession gives it to the Mustangs. 6:35 remaining, quarter number 4.
If you're Franklin Regional, you start looking up at that clock now, too. You have to make up 8 points. You've only scored 26 so far. A couple more buckets for Plum, and I think the lead may be insurmountable.
Plum trying to make this a double-digit lead. They begin to start slowing the offensive pace down already, Josh.
Yeah, I think you should. I mean, you don't have to go slow, but I think you can take time, but you have turned the ball over, so you got to be careful of that.
Trombetta drives inside, had a clean look at the hoop, but dribbled it off her foot out of bounds for a turnover.
Here's the issue, Sean, with that notion. If you are going to slow the game down, you have to be good handlers of the basketball. That's the only way that's going to work. Plum has turned it over 21 times, and if that trend is going to continue, you cannot afford to slow the ball down. That said, you keep forcing turnovers, you'll be okay.
That's exactly what happens. The Mustangs come up with the basketball as Zick, jumper from the right elbow doesn't go, but Plum once again keeps it alive. Turning shot from underneath at Lake. She didn't have the room, and then goes to the floor, which leads to the traveling violation. Good effort by Lake, but maybe took a shot a little quicker than she should have.
And Plum, actually the last two series here, we talked about burning clock. They've been pretty aggressive.
And now a conversation between Mackenzie Lake and the referee in this contest, Heath Giannicola, as Lake was visibly frustrated after she came up with the rebound, went down to the floor for the traveling violation. 5:55 remaining, quarter number 4. Mustangs up 34-26. These teams with identical 3-8 records in 5A Section 4. The Mustangs just 5-15 overall. Franklin Regional 8-12. But Plum trying to sweep the season series against their rivals and move on to the postseason.
I think we have seen a game that shows exactly that, Sean. Both of these teams fighting, and there's been a lot of fouls, been a lot of turnovers. It's been sloppy at times. It's been clean at times, and it's been fun basketball to watch at different times of the game. But now it comes down to free throws. I think the rest of this one, particularly if you're the Plum Mustangs, you're going to be in 1-1 and then double bonus the rest of the way. And you have to capitalize on these chances so far. Plum 10 of 14 at the line in this game.
I'm loving this.
You're admiring the scoreboard, aren't you?
This video board's incredible. Yeah, they have old-timey cartoons.
I saw Minions on there earlier. They keep it entertaining here at Franklin Regional.
So Panthers basketball, 5:55 remaining in quarter number 4. 34-26 in favor of the Mustangs. As Wrights dribbles across the timeline and then gives right back. Palamone gets it down low to Yannigat. Turning shot inside, a bit strong. Montu again snags the rebound.
There's the double-double, 13 points, 10 rebounds for Kennedy Montu.
Now Montu has the basketball up top. Drives inside to the cup, has it stripped away by Palamone, but a foul in the process.
Palamone got her on the arm. Good attack, though, by Montu. That'll be the third foul on Palamone.
It's worth repeating, Franklin Regional without Hannah Turrissy. She started the season as a starter in the backcourt for the Panthers. This is the first shot off the mark for Montu. She's now missed 2 consecutive shots from the line.
That's tough when you lose a guard that can handle the basketball and one that's a senior as well. Franklin Regionals try to make the best of it.
Second shot good for Montu. She's extended the team's lead to 9. 35-26 in favor of Plum. Palamone probing inside, difficult shot off to the right. Coming up with the rebound, Trombetta for the Mustangs, and she gives off to Say. Now 5 minutes remaining in regulation.
I think Courtney Callis was looking for a press there, and her team didn't respond. Didn't come out and do it. They all got back instead of going up, and now Trombetta, I think, frustrated at one end, comes and commits a foul at the other end on Palamone. Or they
I think they just called a jump ball, and Palamone lobbing for her foul. Now, she thought she came up with a steal and subsequently was fouled. It will be Franklin Regional basketball, but the Mustangs not charged with the foul. The fans not happy about the lack of a call there. Leopold gives to Palamone, who tries to get it inside. Good adjustment to catch that one by Wrights. Now a three-pointer misses everything, and a foul underneath as Wrights came soaring in to grab the rebound. She was pushed from behind as she went down hard to the floor. Good to see that she's back up already.
And officials having a word there with Zick, the one who pushed her. This game getting a little bit chippy all of a sudden. I think the officials wanted to step in and kind of give verbal warnings to both teams.
Well, that one turned out to be worse because Wrights was airborne.
Right, that's a dangerous kind of foul.
Giles moves the basketball up top. Now Wrights drives, dishes to Palamone. She's double teamed, is able to get a shot off, and then a foul charged to the Mustangs. There was two girls there. Which one will pick up the personal?
That's Montu, and that's 4. And now you have to make a decision here. If you're Steve Elsier, you have 4:29 left. Your best player is playing with 4 fouls. You take her out for a couple minutes and have her in. You have a 9-point lead, so you might be able to bring her out for a minute, minute and a half. I think that's exactly what he's going to do. I think you save her just in case they do mount a comeback and you need her.
Well, Briner,
you don't want her going out with 4 minutes left.
Briner's near the scoring table, but she's hasn't checked in yet as Palamone misses both, and then a foul by Franklin Regional. That's the 9th team foul, so the Mustangs will be shooting the other way. What a swing that was.
It's on Palamone after the miss crashed in, and she picks up her 4th foul. And now if you're Franklin Regional, it's the other way. You have to keep Palamone in the game because you're trailing. You're down by 9. You can't afford to bring a player out when you're trying to come back. You have that luxury on the other side. As kind of interesting, I thought this game has been called extremely tight. Then for about 2 minutes, we didn't get a call at all, and then all of a sudden, it's getting called tight again.
1-1 for Say. She misses it. So both teams struggling at the charity stripe in this 4th quarter. Montu is on the bench. Palamone remains on the floor for the Panthers. Gives it to Wrights, just inside the arc. Misses off to the left. Yanniga with the putback, can't get it to go, but was fouled. Yanniga's a hard worker out there.
Got to make these free throws. I mean, Palamone makes her 2 free throws. Instead of a 9-point game, it's a 7-point game. You have a chance to make it a 5-point game now here, but instead it's still at 9. But these are big free throws here for Jordan Yanniga.
First one rolls in for Yanniga. First point of the quarter for the Panthers and just the 4th of the second half.
And her first point since the 2nd quarter.
It's now 35-27. Second upcoming. That one goes home a little bit easier to make it 35-28. Panthers still within striking distance with just over 4 minutes remaining in the 4th. As Lake probes inside, then dishes off to Briner. Say gives it to Seneca, and she'll dribble up top smartly. Now Lake in possession. Lake drives in and then dishes off to Zick. Mustangs content to take time off of this clock.
You got to come out and trap now if you're Franklin Regional. You have to come trap. Now you have a chance to go into a double team, and boy, it had a chance and nobody wanted to peel off. 2 players out there. You had Boyd and you had Yanniga. They were both out there, and you have a player that's just dribbling around, killing clock. You have to step to that and foul. And that timeout by Plum actually, I think, works out a bit for Franklin Regional as well because it gets them a chance to set up this defense. I don't know how you let that much time burn off the clock without going and trapping and trying to get a turnover. You're still down 7 with 3.5 minutes, a little bit more than 3.5 minutes left.
The Mustangs have 2 timeouts remaining, both of the full variety. Franklin Regional 2 timeouts, a full and a 30. At what point do you begin fouling if you're Franklin Regional?
Well, it's still too much time here. You're only down 7, 3.5 minutes left. I think, if you're down 7 with a minute 45 left, then maybe you consider slowing down the game and forcing them to make some free throws. But, I mean, you're talking one made bucket away from this being a 4-point game. I think you come out, you try to get a stop here, and that happens with a double team. You have to have some sort of half-court trap here, and I think that is likely what Courtney Callis is drawing up.
And for the Mustangs, assuming that Montu remains on the bench, who do you go to here offensively?
Well, you have some choices. I mean, I think Kelsey Zick has been a pretty good shooter from the outside. And that's where it starts. But that said, if they're going to trap here, it's probably going to result in a layup for your points underneath. You're probably not going to get a chance, I think, to be in a half-court set. So you have somebody catch the ball, and then you see what happens with the trap, and then you try to dish it off and maybe get an easy bucket out of it. We'll see if they walk into a double team. They're still not doing it, though.
Say has the basketball, protecting it with her body as the defender goes down to the floor for the Panthers.
Again, you just have to come out and step up into a double team here. Somebody has to double.
Seneca with the basketball. Now she gives to Zick.
Plum has burned about a minute of clock here.
Zick picks up the dribble, has it go out of bounds. Who's it off of? And they roll Mustangs basketball.
I thought that hit off Zick's foot.
The faithful of the Panthers disagree with that assessment as Montu returns to the floor. Checking out for Franklin Regional of note, Alex Wright. We'll see if the Mustangs get a little bit more aggressive with Montu in the game. As Palamone covering her, battle of 21s. Top scores for their respective teams covering each other. Seneca gives off to Lake. Lake is double teamed, throws it down low. Zick inside, and she gets it to go.
Good ball movement.
First 2-point field goal since the first quarter for her, makes it 37-28. A 9-point lead for the Mustangs. Yanniga off of glass for 2. Good take by Jordan Yanniga. She has all the Panthers' points in this quarter. 37-30 now in favor of Plum. Panthers need to make something happen defensively with 2:15 remaining in regulation. Zick with the basketball, dribbles near half court, now throws it away. Leopold ahead of the pack, has it stripped away, but good anticipation by Brooke Leopold, and she'll head to the line.
Great read, and honestly, that's what they needed 2 minutes ago, was to put that pressure on the ball handler, and they just weren't able to do it. That's the third foul on Seneca.
8th team foul, but it's not going to matter. 2 shots for Leopold, who was in the act. But she can't convert the first.
They have missed some big free throws here. That's now 3 foul shots missed here in the quarter alone. Amazing. Franklin Regional just 7 points here after halftime.
It's been an offensive struggle for both teams, but in particular for the Panthers here. Score by quarter is not pretty, as Franklin Regional 11-12 and then just 3 in quarter number 3, and hasn't been much better, just 4 points so far in this fourth quarter. To the Panthers' credit, however, it's not like the Mustangs offense has been lighting it up. It's been a low-scoring defensive battle, as you said from the onset you thought it would be.
Yeah, and, when we were at halftime, I thought, okay, maybe somebody hits 50 and that's the winner, because it was 26-26, and then everybody just went cold. The turnovers took over. We have just seen a rash of turnovers here. There's been 12 on Plum here after halftime, 9 on Franklin Regional after the break.
Leopold crouches low, misses a second. Yanniga follows it up off of glass. Jordan Yanniga trying to put her team on her back right now.
Only a 5-point game, 2-possession game, and now you see the full court pressure. That's a good idea.
The Mustangs able to defuse it by getting into the front court.
If you're Plum, can't rush into shots, though.
Montu throws it up and is fouled. And we'll see who this one goes on. It could be on Palamone. If that's the case, she'll be done.
It is not. It's on Brooke Leopold. So that's good news for the Panthers. And there's a freshman mistake on the other end by Montu. Instead of pulling that ball out and running clock, she comes in and takes a wild shot. Now that she got bailed out with a foul call there, but you want to run more clock on these possessions, and that was the chance to do it.
Montu rattles in the first. Lead back to 6 points for the Mustangs at 38-32. Just 1:48 remaining. Second one to make it a 3-possession lead. Montu can't convert. Palamone loses the handle on the basketball and then commits a foul, and she's going to be done for this contest. Tough break there on the loose ball.
Yanniga tried to save that ball falling out of bounds, threw it in, and Palamone just couldn't control it.
And this is tough to see. Palamone, a senior, could be playing the last game of her career here tonight.
Finishes with 7 points, 3 rebounds in the ball game. Below her averages for sure. She struggled in the post, struggled with foul trouble at times tonight, and obviously upset as she heads to the bench.
Now 2 shots for Lake in the double bonus. First one a bit strong. Right now these coaches certainly utilizing their full complement of timeouts here. It always seems like close games in the late game scenario comes down to rebounding and foul shooting. Right now, foul shooting could be somewhat of an issue for the Mustangs. They've missed 4 already in this fourth quarter. Franklin Regional, similarly, also has missed 4.
They have, and Plum coming into the quarter was 10 of 14, and coming into the quarter, Franklin Regional 5 of 9. Franklin Regional did not attempt a free throw in the third quarter, but they have missed, as Sean, you mentioned, 4 now here. Palamone went 0 for 2. Leopold went 0 for 2, and boy, you look at it, you get those to go, and it's a totally different game. You're down by 2 points. So, you know, even if you get half of them, you're only down by 4 here, and you're really within striking distance. But again, playoff basketball, as you know, not technically this is, but for all intents and purposes, this is a playoff type of game, because if you don't win, your season's over. If you win, you go to the postseason. So essentially it works as a play-in game. You have to do those things right. Rebounding the ball. I think both teams have rebounded the ball fine in this game, but turnovers and free throws are key. And the turnover battle, you know, Plum is probably going to lose that, but they might end up winning the game. But it's key turnovers here and there, and there's been too many, I think, on both sides.
Second shot upcoming for Lake. Her team up by 6. 1:45 remaining.
Make it a 3-possession game. She does.
It's now 39-32 Mustangs, trying to sweep the season series and head to the postseason. There's a layup attempt by Boyd, no good. Battle for the rebound, and a jump ball will give it to the Mustangs. Great effort once again by Montu on the defensive glass.
It's her 11th board of the game. She's been really good.
You said this is around the time that maybe you start considering the foul game for the Panthers, but keep in mind the Mustangs are in the double bonus. Lake doing a good job with the dribble here. Tightly defended by Giles, so she moves off. Now Seneca has it. Picked up her dribble. Throws a bounce pass to Lake.
You got to come out and trap. You got to start fouling now. You have to start fouling if you're Franklin Regional. You have to foul.
1:10 remaining. Clock continues to tick.
I don't like this strategy at all.
And now finally taken. About 35 to 40 seconds ran off the clock.
Yeah, that's a mistake, both on the floor and I think on the bench too. You have to know when you're down 7 and you're approaching a minute and a half to go, you have to slow this game down. You have to commit fouls.
So for the first time, Zick heads to the stripe. 2 shots. First one is good. Kelsey Zick extending her team's lead to 8. It's 40-32.
16 points for Zick in the ballgame.
Second shot off the mark, but Lake comes up with it. Now a jump ball will give it back to Franklin Regional, but it's been a recurring theme. The Mustangs on the offensive glass, and we've seen a number of times on the offensive glass after a missed foul shot. So the Panthers really have to make up some ground now, trailing by 8, down to the final minute of regulation. Ahead of the pack, tipped out of bounds as the pass intended for Boyd. 57 seconds showing on the clock. Courtney Giles to trigger in underneath the hoop. Panthers need a score and a stop. Shot comes up short, and Montu grabs the rebound.
I think Montu got a piece of that on the way, too.
Now ahead to Zick. And Zick is fouled by Yaniga, and that is her 5th foul. So Yaniga disqualified for the remainder of this contest. Marlena checks in her place.
Yaniga ends with 12 points, 7 rebounds.
Really a yeoman's effort for her, but looks like it might not be enough.
Thought she played really well here in the 4th quarter.
Zick hits the first. Second one upcoming. Mustangs holding a sizable lead. Second shot is good as well for Zick.
She averages 7.8 a game. She has 18 here tonight. That's the effort you need when you need a big win.
42-33. Now the jumper stroked by Wrights and a timeout taken.
Her first bucket. She has 11 rebounds, but the first time she's knocked down a shot. Makes it a 7-point game, but Sean, I think this game, unless something immaculate happens, is just about decided. And I think really if you're Franklin Regional, you need to assess, if you're Courtney Callis and your players, how you played the last 3.5 minutes of this game. I did not think that they were aggressive enough on the defensive side trying to force turnovers. They forced so many turnovers in this game, but I just didn't think when it mattered most they were out there aggressively. Maybe, fatigue plays a role in that, but I thought they could have trapped, and they didn't when they should have. And then obviously, you get to the minute 45 mark and you let 30 seconds just tick away off the clock. You have to foul in that situation. And to not do so, I think really basically, in a way, whether you wanted to or not, concedes the game when you let that much time roll that late in a 7-point ball game.
31 seconds remaining in this contest, 42-34. So they had the wrong score up there momentarily and then have corrected it, because I was wondering if there was a discrepancy on my scorekeeping, but it is an 8-point lead for the Mustangs. So Plum to trigger the basketball in. Panthers will have to either get a steal or a quick foul. And they foul Zick, who's been pretty good at the line in this one, 3 of 4.
All for free throws coming here in the quarter.
Maria Brush into the contest, picked up the personal. First time she's seen the floor tonight.
And they get a body in there for defense to foul.
Zick hits the first. And now 2 players back onto the floor for Franklin Regional as Boyd and Wrights return.
Well, you got to be happy if you're Steve Elsier with the effort of Kelsey Zick in this game.
She misses.
Oh, look at the offensive board.
The second, and Montu corralled it and will head to the line after she was fouled. So many times we've seen that, Josh, and that's just great effort by the Mustangs.
Second, third opportunities in this game have been key. It's third foul on Wrights.
It's got to be just a terrible feeling for the Panthers. Had an opportunity to head back to the playoffs, but likely seeing their season come to an end here against the rival Mustangs as Montu strokes the first.
And on the other side, Plum, what a win this is. A young team, 9 players total on the varsity roster, first-year head coach. And they're going to be dancing into the postseason. They'll hear their name called on Tuesday night.
45-34, the visitors. Quick 3-pointer comes up short. Montu snags another rebound. Giles couldn't get the shot to go. And then a foul committed with just 9.4 seconds remaining. Mustangs up by 11.
That'll send folks to the exits. What a win for Steve Elsier and this Plum team, led by a talented freshman in Kennedy Montu, who's at 17 points and 13 rebounds, now 14 rebounds actually. And the play of the shooting of Zick.
First shot off the mark by Lake. Well, you look at this roster, The Mustangs aren't going to lose anyone next year. I know they're still focused on the remainder of this season, as seemingly they have extended their season by qualifying for the playoffs, but they're going to be a team that's going to be on the rise, you figure, not only next year, but for the next couple years, as Lake hits the second to make it 46-34. Inside, Noel Boyd at the buzzer, but this one is all said and done, and the Plum Mustangs are moving on to the playoffs, a 46-36 victory over Franklin Regional. We'll step aside. We'll be back with the scoring recap, a post-game interview, and our final thoughts. It's 2017-18 WPIAL girls basketball, sponsored by Carlow University, and you're watching it here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Look at boys and girls high school basketball in the district. Log on to the WPIAL Roundball Report every Wednesday at 6 p.m. here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Join experts Chris Harlan, Sean Meyers, and James Dotson for coaches' interviews and the latest hoops news around the WPIAL. Oh, and Don Rebel is back on the show as well. That's the WPIAL Roundball Report, Wednesday at 6 p.m. here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
The Plum Mustangs headed to the postseason after a 46-36 victory over the host Franklin Regional Panthers. I'm Sean Meyers alongside Josh Rowntree. Well, Josh, this is a team that won just 5 games heading into tonight, but had the number of the Panthers this season, and that's all it took for the Plum Mustangs as they conclude their section slate with a mark of 4-8 and just 6-15 overall, but it's good enough to move on, courtesy of a not always pretty, but certainly a gutsy victory here tonight.
Yeah, no question. I thought they played really a hard game tonight. I think they deserve a lot of credit for how physical they played down low, and I really like what Kelsey Zick did in this game. Knocked down some outside shots, hit some free throws late, was kind of all over the place, played good defense. Mackenzie Lake, I thought, was really strong as well. And, it doesn't matter necessarily how many games you win when it comes to getting into the postseason, as long as you win enough to get there. And, they win section game number 4, overall game number 6, like you said, Sean. And it is just barely enough. They'll be the 4th team out of the section and very deserving of a spot in the postseason. They go head-to-head with the rivals, and they come away with a sweep.
We will have the scoring recap and hopefully a post-game interview coming up momentarily. But was there anything that really stood out about this effort here tonight?
Well, I think the fact that they were able to overcome the turnovers. You turn it over. I had them at 24 in the ball game. Turn it over 24 times, and you still find a way to win. That says a lot, I think, about this team and how they were able to handle that. I thought in the second half in particular, Sean, I thought they played really good defense. That third quarter in particular, they just locked down. They locked down and they forced turnovers. They forced 6 in that quarter. That was the most that they forced in any quarter in the game. They forced 6, and they were able to only hold them to 3 points in the game, or in that quarter, I should say. And that was impressive. I think that quarter is what won them. They won the quarter by 6 points. They won the fourth quarter by 4 points, but it was a tie game at half, and they came out, I think, defensively motivated there in that second half, and they were able to pull away with what is a monster win because of that defensive effort, and really, really impressed with this Plum team and the way that they played tonight. I think Steve Elsier should be very pleased with how they responded to not an easy circumstance. Last year, these two teams split. Plum has really kind of owned this series, over the years. Plum's now won overall 17 of the last 19 games against Franklin Regional. And since they rejoined the section together in 2011, they have now won 14 of 16. So, really it's been a one-sided kind of rivalry, but Franklin Regional, they had a chance here on their home floor, and that's what you want at the end of the year. You just want a chance. You're on your home floor. You have the opportunity to get into the postseason. And unfortunately for Franklin Regional, their season ends in a disappointing manner with this loss here tonight. But I think it's really more about what the Plum Mustangs were able to do than what Franklin Regional was unable to do.
Hope that we will have a post-game interview with Coach Elsier momentarily. That, of course, sponsored by Carlow University, the proud sponsor of all girls athletics here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. But before we get to that, let's look at the scoring recap that's brought to you by UPMC Sports Medicine. Of course, UPMC sponsoring the Stay Strong and Play On program with the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
All right, we'll start with the Plum Mustangs. In the victory tonight, they were led by Kelsey Zick. She scored 19 points, grabbed 6 rebounds. Kennedy Montu, 17 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 blocks in the game. 7 points from Mackenzie Lake and 3 points from Alexa Say. Only 4 players scored tonight for this Plum team, but it was enough. Again, 14 rebounds by Montu is a game high. 8 rebounds from Mackenzie Lake. Kind of quietly, the 5'8 sophomore guard with 8 rebounds, 6 rebounds from Zick. They had 36 rebounds in the game. They actually trailed in rebounding by 1 at the end of the third quarter. And in that final quarter, they grabbed 13 rebounds to 4 of Franklin Regional. So rebounding in that fourth quarter was huge for them in this game. Turned it over 24 times to the Mustangs, and they were 19 of 31 at the line in this contest. For Franklin Regional, they were paced today by Jordan Yaniga. She had 12 points and 7 rebounds, 8 points from Noelle Boyd. Alex Wright's 11 rebounds, had just 2 points, though. 7 from Izzy Palamone in the final game of her high school career. And 3 points from Caitlin Carr, 2 from Courtney Giles, and 2 from Juliana Merlina. And they grabbed 28 rebounds in the game, were 7 of 15 at the line, committed 19 turnovers.
That is the scoring recap. That's brought to you by UPMC Sports Medicine. Now it's time for the post-game interview sponsored by Carlow University. We're joined by Coach Steve Elsier. Coach, congratulations. I caught a little bit of the excitement from the locker room. How good does it feel in your first year to lead these girls to the postseason?
It feels really good, to be honest. I thought it was, something we maybe achieved the second year, but to have it the first year is a great thing. The girls just, played really well. We scouted a lot. Franklin Regional plays very hard, and, we executed defensively very, very well, and I'm very proud of them.
It wasn't the prettiest game at times, low scoring. I'm sure you figured it kind of would be, but how important was it to really hold them at bay for that third quarter where Franklin Regional could just get nothing going offensively?
We really put an emphasis at halftime, and we had to change up a couple things, just little things. For example, the girls were scissor cutting inside for Franklin Regional, so really what we wanted to do is bring up Kennedy a little bit. We run a matchup zone, and one of the things that you could do with it is kind of tweak the middle position, and we brought her up a little bit more. She did pick up 2 more fouls, or 1 more foul in the third, and we had to pull her out, but it kind of took away that freelancing in the inside that they were doing in the first half.
Coach, if we were to tell you that you were going to turn it over 24 times in a game, in a pivotal game against your rival, you probably wouldn't think you're going to come away with a win. But I thought you guys, despite maybe not handling the ball all that well, in the last 4 minutes, I thought you really improved, and you handled the ball pretty well there down the stretch, and you were able to keep the ball for extended periods of time.
Yeah, I just called timeouts and just said, look, the team who's calm and executes down the stretch, we said at halftime is going to win the game.
Yeah.
And I had to call 2 timeouts, a 30 and a full, to just say, calm down. It wasn't an X's and O's thing. It was just calm down.
Right.
Take care of the ball. You got 4 seconds before you got to make a move, and that's pretty much what we did. But, Franklin Regional gets after you, and we knew we were going to have some turnovers. So
I guess it made it easier to accept this job when you know that for 4 years you're going to have a player in Kennedy that goes out and puts up 17 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 blocks in what is essentially a playoff game for you guys here tonight.
Yeah, when I interviewed for the job, my big thing I told Mr. Alpino, our AD, was, give me 2 years. I think that Plum, and I didn't know anything about Kennedy. I didn't know much about Plum, to be honest. I'm from a different part of the state, so I came in and I'm like, wow, there's talent here. And once we get our numbers up, and I'm working with the feeder program and everything, I think we're going to be very, very solid.
And then tonight, you look and you maybe expect an effort like that out of Kennedy, but Kelsey Zick ends up putting in 19 points, 6 rebounds. I thought she shot the ball well from the outside, and you guys were able to move the ball around pretty well to get her open shots, and then she responded by putting up 19 points.
Kelsey played a great game. Last game we talked about, at Indiana 2 games ago, she struggled shooting, but I said do the other thing. She had a huge rebound for us on a miss. Kennedy Montu's free throw to basically save the game. So, if she's not shooting well, she's doing something else well, and we just keep working on that. And we tell her if you mess up, fail fast and move on and do something else.
You guys rebounded the ball pretty well, too. Fourth quarter in particular, I had the rebounding margin at 13-4 in that final quarter. It seemed like maybe they tired out a little bit, and you guys were able to take advantage of that on the glass, particularly on the offensive glass. I thought, too.
Game plan-wise, but that was one of the things, and we didn't anticipate the rebounding situation, but we wanted to tire them out. We played a little full court on the Carr girl because that's their main ball handler.
Yeah.
With Tracy out, we felt like we could exploit that a little bit and make her work a little bit. But they rebound. Like Franklin Regional, there was a couple times the first half they just killed us on the board. So maybe they were tired, maybe they weren't, but they're a tough team.
Right.
Coach, I know that you're probably going to be facing a really good team in the first round of the playoffs. But how important is it to at least give your team a chance and to get those extra practices and play in that playoff environment for real this time, as opposed to a play-in game for the young girls to get that experience?
It's huge. I mean, we play Oakland Catholic coming up on Monday, and that's a playoff team. That's a top-tier team. It's going to be a great experience for us. But the other thing is, and I came over from the boys' side, and I tell the girls, when you're in the playoffs, everything is magnified. Every possession, every turnover, every sideline out of bounds, or whatever you're running. So we just have to be ready for that, and we'll prepare them as best we can, and we'll go out and we'll play ball.
They got a good preview of it tonight, certainly, with this environment. All right, Coach, we appreciate it. Congratulations on the victory, and good luck moving forward into the playoffs.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Head coach Steve Elsier, first year with the Mustangs, guides his team to the playoffs. Josh, just about set to wrap this one up. Once again, the post-game interview sponsored by Carlow University. It's a proud sponsor of all girls high school athletics here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. It's tough to see one team's dreams of a postseason dashed like this, especially for the seniors who will not be playing another game of this magnitude in their career. But on the other side, it has to be a great feeling if you're a fan of the Plum Mustangs to see these young girls heading on to bigger and better things this season.
Yeah, 4 seniors from Franklin Regional playing their last game, and you do feel for them. They're actually out there getting a picture at half court together right now, and I think maybe some tears, but now some smiles on the face as their high school careers come to an end. Certainly in a disappointing way. They wanted to finish better, and they're not going to. But on the other side, I think you have a team in Plum with Steve Elsier as their head coach. I think they have a real chance, Sean, after this year, and they're going to be a massive underdog in that first playoff game. They're going to play a really good team. They're going to play a team that is probably going to be very heavily favored in that game, you would have to think. But they, I think, going forward, have a lot to build around. You have, I think, what's going to be a great player potentially in the WPIAL and Kennedy Montu. And then obviously you have very good role players that are all going to be a year better next year. And you talked about it, getting those extra practices, getting that playoff game. That kind of stuff goes a long way. And you and I have been doing this for a while. And how many times do we talk to a coach about, what happened at the end of the last year? And they say, boy, did we take a lot out of that playoff game. So who knows? I mean, maybe they pull off a monumental upset. It's happened plenty of times before. And I think they have a talented enough couple of players with Montu and Zick in particular that they can go out and maybe surprise some folks. But, regardless, they're going to take a lot, I think, not only out of the next couple of weeks, but I think they take a lot out of tonight as well. The way that they responded down the stretch, despite the turnovers, despite missing 12 free throws, they were able to out-rebound them. And I just thought they played a terrific game from that third quarter on, really. I thought they were clearly the better team in this one, and they deserved to win.
Well, that's going to do it. Once again, with the setback, Franklin Regional season comes to an end with a record of 3-9 in section play, 8-13 overall. The Mustangs season continues. They move to 6-15, 4-8. They do have another game, as Coach mentioned, against Oakland Catholic before gearing up for the postseason. That's the final here. This score, once again, 46-36 Mustangs over the Panthers. You've been watching 2017-18 WPIAL Girls Basketball. It's sponsored by Carlow University. It's been here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Good night, everybody.
You have been listening to WPIAL Basketball 2017-2018 here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network and sponsored by UPMC Sports Medicine, by AstroTurf, by Carlow University, proud sponsor of the 2018 WPIAL Girls Basketball Playoffs, and by Trib Total Media. You can follow the 2017-2018 WPIAL Boys and Girls Basketball season every day by logging on to Trib, HSSN.TribLive.com. Postgame.com. The preceding has been a special presentation of the Trib Live High School Sports Network.